Is it a good idea for intuitive, empathic people to have children? Hi, my name is Leah Chantel, and today I'm taking a different spin on the topic of children and family. Usually, when you hear intuitive, psychic, or mediumship type people talk about children, it's automatically a rosy picture of how we're sharing our beliefs with our children and raising them to follow their intuition, and that's all lovely, and that would be amazing if all of that went smoothly for all of us. Having said that, truthfully, if we become parents, we have to love our children unconditionally for who they are. So that means if they want to take on a different belief system, we still love them even if they're different from us. So if we're so sensitive as intuitive, empathic people that we can't handle having a child that has a different belief system than us, then maybe we're not in a position to become parents because we don't have the ability to love unconditionally. I know that'll sound controversial, but it's true. But imagine, let's use a different metaphor. Imagine you're a parent and you want to have a child and you're a Republican. You should be able to have a child who is a Democrat and love them unconditionally in spite of their political beliefs. Well, when it comes to spiritual beliefs, I think we take it a little bit more personally when our family members are different than us or our child chooses to take on a different belief system. But truthfully, we have to just love them anyway. And if we don't have that empathy to love kids who are different than us, then we may not be the ideal people to become parents. Now, let's say you listened to this and you said, okay, Leah, I get what you're saying. And if I have a child who's completely different in belief system from me, I can still love them and appreciate them for who they are, and I still want to have children. That's amazing. So having children is this amazing growth journey. But even if you're mature enough to become a parent, it's not enough to want to have children. You also need to select the correct life partner in order to have children. And well, you could do it on your own. So you could go to a sperm bank and just do it completely on your own. Having said that, it's always nice to have help. And if you choose to raise children with somebody, you have to select the right person. Otherwise, you could be setting yourself up for divorce and single parenthood. And that's a very scary prospect. It can be a lot of work, it can be a lot of time and sacrifice on your part. And some of your dreams and goals and ambitions could get sacrificed in the process of having children. So, is it a good idea to pursue marriage and children? I mean, if your dreams and ambitions are your number one things that you're trying to bring about into your life, then your children should be supporting that. You don't want to just have children and give up on your dreams and ambitions, and there's no reason you can't have both. But you need to think about it and plan for it, because if you don't, your children may get priority over everything else and your dreams, goals, and ambitions may slip away. And one thing that's very important for us as intuitives to have healthy marriages and potentially become healthy parents is that we never lose our goals, dreams, and ambitions. I find it so interesting that both empathic people and other people who are a bit more intellectual, sometimes will be willing to have no dreams, goals, and ambitions except for the dream of getting married and having children. And the problem with that is that no relationship in your life is ever really going to do it for you by itself. On the other hand, a career by itself may not do it for you in life either. I believe we have to have room for both of these things in our lives in order to have truly happy, fulfilling lives. So we don't necessarily want to sacrifice our dreams of having a family for our work. But on the other flip side, we don't want to necessarily sacrifice our work in order to have a family. There should be a balance of being able to have both. So, for example, I was reading this article about Japan and how the women there who work will not get married or have families because that takes them out of their workplace. That basically annihilates their careers. And that's a very extreme example, but it's very sad that people have to suppress one area of your life completely in order to have another area of your life grow and prosper. On the other hand, in a lot of countries, when people do get married and have children, they just never get back into the workforce, especially for women after they've had that role of being a parent. But sometimes that happens to men too. They become accustomed to being the caregiver because they're earning less than the partner in their family. And then they never get that identity back of chasing their goals, dreams, and ambitions. And you don't want to get into that position either. You want to make sure you have a balance of both. And my cat is agreeing with me there. You want to keep pursuing your goals, dreams, and ambitions, because when you do that, your children and your partner will respect you more, and those relationships will be supportive of your greater dreams. And the minute that you sacrifice your goals, dreams, and ambitions, ironically, your children and your partner will actually lose respect for you because you're giving up parts of your identity. You're losing some of your self-respect when you do that. And so, while there's nothing wrong with having dreams in life of having a marriage and having children, you never want to sacrifice your other passions in life, your other professional goals, completely for that area of your life. If you sacrifice them a little bit temporarily, maybe to raise an infant, then that's pretty normal. But sacrificing 5 or 6 years of your life might be too much. You see what I mean? And so when we want to have children, when we want to get married, we have to understand that sometimes our other goals and priorities could potentially slip. And so it's something that you don't want to rush into too quickly. And you also want to make sure you're selecting the right partner and you're doing things at the right timing. If you rush into something too quickly, you could be making a mistake. Some women do that because they believe their clock is ticking. If I don't do this now, I'm going to lose the opportunity to have children in the future. And that's a really good way to get yourself into a potentially toxic marriage. If you jump into something too fast and that's wrong for you, then you could really lose your life, your goals, and your dreams and ambitions. And I would say it's better to keep that and potentially miss out on having children and having a good marriage rather than the other way around. Because once you lose those goals, dreams, and priorities, it can be very hard work to get them back, especially if you exit the workplace for a long time and you don't have a business. It can be very tough to rebuild all of those aspects of your life. Now, are there exceptions to this rule? I mean, maybe there could be some life situations where it's worth it to sacrifice your career, but I would be extremely cautious with that, especially as a woman, because you just never know when a partner could change. Even if you marry an amazing partner, it's possible that sometimes 5 years into a marriage, something happens to them, and then your life completely changes overnight 5 years in. And if that happens and you don't have any backup plan, any career or any business that you can fall back on, you're going to be in trouble if you have a potentially abusive partner who was good to you in the first 4 years and suddenly changed. Then you're going to be struggling and trying to find a place to live with children to take care of too. So it's very risky actually to get married and to have children. That doesn't mean you shouldn't want it, because it can be an amazing emotional opportunity for growth. And intuitive, empathic people potentially can be some of the most amazing parents out there because they have true empathy. There are so many kids that are raised by parents who have no sense of intuition or empathy. They're just taught go, 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 succeed at any cost, and then they become the Wall Street banker or the lawyer at the firm. And then they don't really contribute to the betterment of society, even though their lifestyle looks good and they earn a lot of money, because they're working for organizations that maybe aren't very healthy. And even though they get rewarded for that financially, they're not really making the world a better place, even though they look good on the outside. When we're intuitive and empathic people, we live from the inside out, and we know how important it is to be emotionally happy and living a spirit-led life. And so we have potential to raise amazing kids and have great families. However, I think my bottom line is that we have to pay attention to growing our lives first and being the best intuitive, empathic people we can be first, and having a productive career of some kind where we're being of service to others. When we put that priority first and we have a life, then we can build from that as our foundation to have an amazing life with potentially a partner and children added into the mix. But when we don't have that core foundation, it's not wise to throw on partner and kids on top of it. I think it's better to just continue working on yourself and potentially leave that option of having children and getting married alone and just focusing on having the best life possible, because that's actually the way that we influence the world and we make the world a better place, is when we live our truest, happiest lives. And that doesn't necessarily mean having a husband or children. What that means is that we're happy from the inside out and we radiate that happiness, that joy to everybody that we touch in our lives. That's really the most important thing. And then if you have that opportunity to build on top of that, then that's great. Having said that, if you lose that foundation of self-love and self-care and being loving and serving the world in lieu of having a marriage and having children, it's not worth losing that core foundation in order to have the opportunity to get married and have children. In fact, it's probably setting you up for single parenthood and divorce down the line. And people push these things too much when really it's not a right fit or it's not the right time. And it's actually better to focus on your own life, focus on developing your career and growing, rather than jumping into something just because it's there, right? And rushing into a marriage or having a family when potentially it could go sideways for you. So what do you think about my perspective on marriage and children? I'm certainly not against it, but what I'm saying is that you have to take care of yourself first and love yourself first. Go for your goals, dreams, and priorities. Build your dream life first. And it doesn't have to be finished. It could be in progress, but you need to stay committed to it while you're potentially getting married and having children in order to be true to yourself. And those will create happy, healthy relationships if you're in the process of building that happy life for yourself while you're having them. But you should never sacrifice your true, authentic self and your dream life for the opportunity to have marriage and children. Definitely leave your comments below if you have any feedback to add to my conversation today. I think this conversation is an important one for intuitive, empathic people to have, because we're so good at showing empathy to others that we think automatically we should just jump into a marriage or having children, and that's the greatest meaning in our lives. And it is very meaningful. But what I'm saying is that there are other aspects of life that are also very important, and we don't want to sacrifice our beautiful lives in order to achieve those dreams. We want to have a balanced life where we're truly happy and we're lighting up the world. And then if we can include those personal goals in that mix, then we can throw them into the mix. But never ever sacrifice your true self in order to have those goals achieved in your personal life. I hope you're all having an amazing week, and I hope you enjoyed my take on this conversation. And you can let me know if you want to have kids or not. What's your perspective on it? What conditions need to be met in order for that to happen for you, if any? Or do you have a completely different perspective? I would be interested in hearing that as well. I hope everybody is happy, healthy, and well, and I hope you have amazing opportunities to grow in your life, and I can't wait to talk to you again in the future. Take care. Bye now.